Happy Monday, everybody. Okay, so this week I want to talk about what we saw last week on television. That was the State of the Union address. So, first of all, let me just start with some good perspective, some good news. In terms of the performance that our president gave, I want to give him props. He came out with a lot of energy, more energy than I'm used to seeing. And as an American watching it on television, you want the nation, the leader of your nation, to look strong and in charge. And you know what? Whether you love him or don't, I'll give that to him. But now let's look at what he actually said. Though I was taking notes during his address, and a lot of times I was just shaking my head because as a politician, he is a politician, and he's looking for re-election, and so he's got to put his best foot forward and tell you why he deserves another 4 years. And we actually heard that we heard 4 more years several times throughout his speech, which is what he was wanting. But let's look at what he was actually saying, that why he deserves another 4 years. Number one is how strong the economy is, how low unemployment is, how there's jobs for everybody. Okay, I see a lot of cracks in the foundation, and you can take some points and kind of turn them on their head and make them look better or worse than they are. And in this case, I think he was making the truth look better than it actually is. So, first of all, let's talk about unemployment. I've read the job reports too. First of all, the job reports come out from the White House as looking very strong. And then a week or two later, they come out revised. And those numbers are always less rosy than they were originally. However, it's the original story that gets the headlines. Then when the revisions come out, then they're not quite as good. And what's happening is the jobs reports are looking great because everybody's got jobs, or jobs are increasing. Employment is increasing. But really, when you start digging into those numbers, who's getting those jobs? The people that are already working, they're getting second jobs because they need to buy groceries. They need to take care of their families. They got bills to pay. They got rents that are going up. So the jobs report, I don't think it's that great. Second of all, GDP. GDP is up. Well, a big factor of gross domestic product, the money that our country generates, a big factor in that is government spending. And we all know, we've talked about this over and over again, the government is spending more than they make. So now that our debt level is at all-time highs and our interest payments on that debt are at all-time highs, our interest payments have now exceeded the budget for the Department of Defense, which says a lot considering we have the largest military the world's ever seen. So GDP numbers are up. Well, that's not all it's cracked up to be, and it'll take a while before the government can't just support the economy. We saw the Soviet Union try to do that, and they failed dramatically. So those numbers aren't quite so good. Now, here's the final, crack in the foundation, the way Greg and I see it. It has to do with banking, right? So a few of the big banks are having all-time highs. Meanwhile, the community banks and the regional banks, they're still struggling. Struggling so much so that there's mergers going on right now because they just can't handle the new regulations that are being put out, the drop in assets that they have on their books, either with treasuries that they've bought and are still holding, or commercial real estate that are holding down their loans. So those are starting to consolidate, and we're starting to see additional bank mergers before failure. So they're running in front of an avalanche, and they're avoiding the avalanche right now, but we're seeing a lot of banks running. Okay, finally, the price of gold. For us, we love it because that's where we've moved a lot of our clients into hard assets. But the fact that gold is going so high, meanwhile the president says the dollar's at all-time highs in terms of strength, if that was true, gold wouldn't be surging the way it is. So We're in a good position. Like Greg said in the last video, we're in a good position. We don't want to change that strategy because it's coming out as we predicted. But you do want to use a critical mindset when you're listening to politicians talk about how great everything is. You know, we've seen the same thing before economic crashes before the Great Recession of '07, '08. The Fed chair was saying we're going to have a soft landing and we've got the mortgage crisis under control. Those were exact words right before the crash. 1929, before the great stock market crash, the economy was booming and politicians were praising it. So just keep a critical mind when you're looking at your own finances, when you're looking at the economy as a whole, and appreciate you guys. You have a great week. Bye-bye.